Hello, brothers and sewing crafting family. Angela Wolf here, and I'm super excited to see you. A new week, and today is one of your favorite shows. You've been asking for it for quite a few months, and we're delivering. So pop in, say hi, say where you're from. We've got recipes on the plate today. And I was typing, telling my husband what I was on the live show today. He goes, recipes? You don't cook. I'm like, yeah, no, thankfully, this is not a cooking show or I would be fired immediately. So pop in, say hi. See everybody here on YouTube. We are streaming live on Brothers Sewing and Crafting YouTube and Facebook pages. Super happy to see you. So while we're waiting for Kathy Stipe to pop in here, I have a question for you. Last week, we had 2 great live shows. And in between, I showed how to sew sheer curtains. I sewed it on the Avenir, but I showed you a couple of other brother machines you could sew them on. They turned out great. I hung them up. I took them back down to show you today. But if you missed that show, that was on Wednesday. That was on my channel. We sewed sheer fabrics, and I gave at least 4 or 5 tips for sewing with shears. So on that note, yes, we are live, and yes, we can see all your comments. Let's bring Kathy Stipe up. You have been asking for a show with her recipes. Those of you that started watching, let's see, At Your Side Virtually in March of 2020, that's when we first started the live shows. So you might recall that when she would come in, she'd pop just a couple of recipes and everybody loved it. And then she'd pop a few more. So today, the whole show is about recipes. So let's bring Kathy up and give her a big warm brother sews welcome. Kathy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
So what you don't know, Kathy, is for the last many months, I'll say, hey, is there a special show anybody wants to see? And they drop it in the comments. And it's always Kathy's recipes. So people are so excited you are here. And for somebody who's new, they're gonna be blown away with these recipes.
That's right. So the recipes that we're talking about are created in my design center. So if you've watched other shows that I've done, you know that my design center is like my little sandbox that I love to play in. So I found that if I would take a patterned fill from my design center and play with angles and sizes and combine them, that it gave me all these new options for background fills. So I was playing at a quilt show that I was working, and this was just something that I stitched out, and you can see that there's the same patterned fill repeated, but just different sizes. So I made the custom shape for the flower, brought in the patterned fill, then went back and brought in that same custom shape and changed the fill to a different size and combined them and then stitched it all out. It's a variegated thread. I don't know if you can tell on camera. So I just wanted something running on the machine while I was working at a show.
That's beautiful, by the way. I love that flower too.
So I couldn't throw it out. I had to bring it home, and it's still not made into anything, but maybe one day.
I have a few of those projects. I have maybe just a bin or so.
So today I'm starting with recipes, and I actually typed it all up. So the first column is the pattern fill number, then the percentage that I brought it in, and then over to the side again, if I rotated it. So I'm going to hold these up, and you're going to tell them how they can go back and get it.
That sounds like a good idea. So first of all, the best way to watch today's show, in my humble opinion, is if you're on Facebook right now, click share it to your page, because then you can watch it again very easily. You're going to want to watch and then watch it again and try it yourself if you have my design center. So, and I know many of you do, because that's been out for a long time. The other way is if you're on YouTube, first of all, you can click share, or you can also click save so you can watch it later so you never miss it. So this is one show you're going to want to save in the Richter scale and go back, take notes. So the first time, just watch it all the way through so you can ask your questions. And on the second time you watch it, when we're not live, then you can try it on your own machine, which is perfect. And I have these and I will try to post them on the schedule, but I know you're going to want it before I post them. So the best way is when she holds those up, she'll hold them for a second, take a screenshot if you can. And that should work. I just got a notification that Facebook is not behaving. So hopefully everybody on Facebook can pop over to YouTube.
Oh, goodness.
I know, the alert just came up. I was like, whoa, you might face problems on Facebook. They're having issues. So everyone on Facebook, hurry up and go to YouTube. All right,
Really?
Kathy, the good news
All
is
right.
the show is recorded. So let me bring you up. Everyone can take a screenshot, take a photo of it, take a quick screenshot.
So there's page number 1. Let's see if I can get this straight. Here is page number 2.
We can see it great.
And last but not least, page number 3.
Perfect.
Great. So in the past, I have shown this little wall hanging that I made, and I put ribbon, used ribbon in between the blocks for my sashing. So I'm going to show you with a little sample today how I actually do this. But I wanted to walk through and show on camera how some of the patterned fills are combined.
You know, Kathy, I love how you have that into, well, kind of like a mini quilt, but you can easily go back and check. What a great way to save like some of your favorite back fills. And they're not just on sheets of fabric, not sheets, but little, pieces of fabric in a bin. That's so much cuter.
Well, the problem is I need to go back and label these somehow or another as to what combination it was, because sometimes you just can't remember and you say, oh, that looks like it was this one, and you get it up on the screen and it's not. So
okay, so while you're showing everyone watching, you got to leave a comment below. How should she label this? With the P-Touch? It's way too pretty to use a Sharpie. Oh, sorry, not a brother product. It's way too cute to use a marker. We're gonna have to come up with something really cool. Embroidered, I don't know. Okay, take it away, Kathy. We'll come up with something for you.
Well, my original thought for labeling it was, because it's already constructed, is what better way to combine my brother products? I'm going to use my scan and cut and maybe some heat transfer vinyl. So let me know if you think it's a good idea.
That's a good idea. That one wins all the way.
Some of them are already constructed, like this table runner that was done a little bit differently. So I wanted to point out where there is a join, and I'm going to try and get this as close to my camera as possible. So I've got a join right here, right where my finger is at. So I saved all my little blocks in my machine memory, merged them together in a hoop. So I had 4 that were connected. And then in my design center, I just drew some lines with my line tool and assigned a satin stitch. So as I stitched 4, then I rehooped. So I stitched those 4, then I rehooped to the next 4 and then joined those. So instead of having the one with the ribbon, I just have a satin stitch. So what I was putting to the test was how well my projector was working after the 1.09 update, and now there's 1.10. So make sure you update your machine if you have an Avenir. So I'm going to switch to my machine camera, and I'm going to show you how I go about making some of these pattern fills, and I'll keep my recipe cards with me.
I love this. I love this. And by the way, thank you for the reminder. All of you that have the Evanier, check your email from Brother. Make sure you got that email to remind you, because you're going to want that email when Brother is extending your masterclass. So you're going to need make sure you got that email from Brother reminding you about this update. It was super easy to do, as it always is. And thank you for that reminder, Kathy. So now it's 1.10, correct?
Correct.
All right. All right, we are live. I can see you all. Yes, someone said, are you live? We are. So leave your comments and questions, and we're going to let Kathy take it away on her machine.
All right, let me switch cameras.
All right, while she's switching, I'll take her out so you don't get seasick, although you wouldn't get seasick. She's got this camera thing down pat. Oh, yes. I know, this is exciting. Yeah, I did my update. It only took a few minutes, but I really wasn't having any issues to even notice for an update. So mine was great. Okay.
All right, so here you see my screen, and I go into my design center. One of the first things that I did was I just used the shapes that were built in. I picked a square and said, okay. And I changed the line type to a run stitch.
Hey, Kathy, can you just check? I don't know if your mic is hitting something. Your sound was going out. I just want to make sure we're not losing you.
Maybe if I move my speaker.
That's a little better. Yeah, thanks. Oh, nope. I think she muted herself. So we'll get you to come back on. I know, Sandra, it is fun. Are you back? Nope. All right, well, we're waiting for Kathy to, it looks like your mic got muted. So maybe she's just checking her mic. So hold on tight, everyone. She'll be right back. Yeah. Everyone's saying, do I have my design center? Check your machine. There's quite a few machines that do. Yeah, Kathy, I think I hear you now.
Okay.
Much better. There you go.
Okay. Yep. So, on my screen, I made the square. I changed the color to red and made it just a running stitch. And I said, okay. Then I wanted to size that square. Oops. Let me grab it again. I want that bounding box around it so that I can size it. And I like to use the 10 key touchpad for my size. So I wanted my squares at 5.5 inches and 5.5 inches. So I don't think I actually got it. I didn't. So we're going back 5.5. I forgot to touch set. So now I have my square. And then I saved that to the machine. So where I'll get it from the next time is this pocket right up here. That's where it was saved. So in my fills, I go to my patterned fills, and I like pink and green, so I usually select one color that's pink. And let's see, which one do we want to do right now? I will start with 008, what I call the brick. Say okay, okay again, and then I touch my flood fill or paint bucket and touch inside the square. So now I'm going to go to next to set my stitch properties. I want my stitching to be thin, so I say okay. You can see on here I didn't touch the outline of my square to change that to a running stitch. So if I arrow over and select that, then I can select this again. So now it is my running stitch. So I'm going to set that. And it's going to give me this pop-up saying that it's converting it to an embroidery pattern. Okay to continue. So yes, it's okay. Now that I'm in embroidery, I want to add, and I want to go back to my design center. And I'm going to pull out of the pocket, and I have another square that I had previously made that I had set to no sew. So the setting in your line properties, that is the zigzag with the red line through it, that is no sew. And I touched the flood fill bucket and touched the line. So that's set to not sew an outline around it. Then I went back into my pattern or my fills, back into pattern fills. This time I selected a green. So for 008, I select that again. And I drop that into my square. So this time when I set my stitch properties for next, I'm still leaving it at 100%, but where it says rotate, I'm rotating this to 90 degrees and say okay. And then you can see it's turned it around. Again, I want the thickness to be thin, so I selected that. And if I set it to embroidery, you can see that I now have a different pattern. And let me bring that up so that you can see it up close and personal. So there it is. So it's just a different way to use the pattern fills. That's what I like about it. I get a whole new look with a whole bunch of pattern fills. So there was 10 on the first page, 10 on the second page, and then I had 3 on the third page. So that's one of them. So I'm going to go back into my design center, go into where my pattern fills are at. We have 54 built in. And I just came up with, what was that, 23 additional ones? So there's 77 pattern fills, and I'm sure that there are more that you can come up with from that. But let's take a look at how I combine them in the hoop. So I'm going to go back to home. I think I saved them to my machine's memory if I didn't clear them all out. Nope, I cleared them all out. So let's make just a couple in my design center that I can show you how I combine them. I'm going to pull up my square. I'm going to go into pattern fills. Let's change it to my pink. This time I'm going to select number 5 and say okay. Okay again. I'm going to fill my square, go to next. Leave this at 100%, and I'm just going to set it. I'm going to go back to add, back to my design center. This time pull up my square that doesn't have any outline stitching. I'm going to go into my pattern fills, select my green, pick number 5 again, say okay, fill my square, and this time as I'm setting my stitch properties, I am changing this down to 50%. Say okay. and I set it. So this is an idea of what it looks like up close. I think that one's pretty cool. So I'm going to save this to my machine's memory, and we'll make one more. So let's go back home, back into my design center, pull up my first square that has an outline, back into my pattern fills. Let me grab my pink. This one I think is probably my favorite of all, and I use it more than anything else, especially with the holidays coming up. So it's the diagonal crosshatch. Fill my first one, say next to set my stitch properties. And this one I'm just leaving at 100%, so I'll set it. And then I'm going to go back in to add my design center again. I'll pull up my square that has a no-sew outline, and I just don't want to repeat that outline stitch around it twice, so that's why I saved one as no-sew and one with a running stitch. So I'm going to come back in, I'll pick my green, pick my diagonal, say okay, okay again. We're going to fill it, say next. And again, I'm just changing the size down to 50%. Notice that if I just hold my finger on plus or minus, it just keeps going. I don't have to sit there and tap, tap, tap. So we'll set that one and say okay. This is why this is my favorite, because it makes what looks like a plaid. So I'll close that, and I'm going to save it to my machine's memory. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to group it. And that, oh, undo. I'm going to group it, and I'm going to move it and set it off to the side. Then I'm going to add, and I'm going to bring back in the one that I had saved in my machine's memory, the one with the circles, set that, and I want to group that, not all of them, unselect. I want to just find the one, select that one, and select the second one so that I have that group together, and then I can group it and it stays grouped. So this is where my magnification plays out. Use your magnifying glass if you have to, because I want this one to move so that it is right next to the previous one. So we'll go back to 100%. So if we select all of these now and then kind of move them to the center, I'll show you how I added that satin stitch that I created in my design center. So we'll go to close that screen out, go to add again, and I'll go back into my design center. This time I do want the satin stitch, but I'm just going to select point to point. And let's get something that will really show up. So I'm going to choose a bright red. I'm going to take my stylus and just make me a line. Then I'm going to take my flood fill bucket and touch my line. When I go to next, This is where I can set my zigzag width so I can make my stitch wider. I usually do, when I'm set in inches, I usually do at 0.20 and say okay. So that is set, taking it to embroidery. Now I'm touching that and I want to move that where it is just right on top of that join. And while it's selected, I want to duplicate it and, oops, touch the wrong button, rotate it, the duplicated one, and I have it. Actually, what I did was I had it at the top. I'm going to resize that with stitch recalculation. So therefore it moved it back to its original position, and I want to make it longer. Now let's see if I can, I made it too long. So let's size it back down just a little bit. Maybe we'll make it now, rotate it. Let's reset it and rotate it 90 degrees. It's still too long. So we just took a little hot minute, I like to say. Let me just make it a little bit shorter and see if now we can rotate it 90 degrees, reset it, rotate it 90. It still wants to. Should have left well enough alone when I was resizing. And then we'll just say, okay, rotate, reset, then 90 degrees. So when I was doing the table runner where I used the satin stitch for my join, I put 4 of these squares in the hoop, and then I had sized my satin stitch the exact width that I needed it to be, and then the length that I needed for the 4. And that's how I was able to do the multi-hooping and make it work. So now how do I join those? I joined them by using my sewing machine side of my machine. So now that you see how to join multiple squares, I'm going to go back home so I can switch over to sewing. So so now that I'm back to sewing, I like to select a zigzag stitch, and let me switch you to where you can see on the camera the bed of my machine. You can see that I've joined like 2 squares together and 2 squares together. Now I need to join this row. What I have found that works great is my compact move it foot. But I have to remember to plug it in because it doesn't work otherwise. I know that it's plugged in because it shows up on my screen of my machine. And I've set my zigzag width to 5.0. And then I just zigzag these together. I have my stitch in the ditch sole on my move it foot so that I can guide that along the cut edges. And once my whole block is put together with zigzag stitch, then I can either layer another piece of batting behind this, because when I stitched it out, you can see I did stitch just with one layer of batting and one layer of fabric, no stabilizer needed. Or if I want the extra loft from an additional piece of batting, I can put that behind it. But since I don't, this is going to be more of a decorative little piece. To add the ribbon, this is just a growing ribbon, and I have applied a double-sided fusible tape to the back so that I keep it from shifting. So I'll peel off and throw on the floor to clean up later my little piece. And I lay it over where that join is at. Everybody seeing that well enough?
That looks great.
So I just get it on there with that little bit of sticky, and then I can change back to a straight stitch, still using that guide from the Stitch in the Ditch sole. I'm going to lower my foot, and then I'm going to use my left-right shift so that I'm just stitching right there on the edge of the ribbon. This is what attaches my backing fabric to my little quilted piece that I'm making. And no judgment on the crooked sewing, because it's kind of difficult to sew straight whenever you're sewing from the side, to stay out of the way. And then I just turn it around and I go to the other piece, or the other side of the ribbon. My stitching should be uniform on this side as well, because I'm using the same settings. So there you have it. I used the contrasting thread so that you could see how easy it is to attach the ribbon to be used for your sashing strip. I have another piece that I would go like this. So I'm thinking if I finish this off, to me, this just with the 4 squares almost looks like a Christmas gift. Maybe then I could just make a bow and stitch that down with ribbon, kind of like we
I
did
love
with.
that idea. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it looks like a box.
So we could put it on the table with some greenery or something for the holidays.
Absolutely. Lorraine has a question for you. Can you place an embroidery on top and remove the below? Okay, Lorraine, I'm trying to follow. Can you place an embroidery on top and remove below the embroidery? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, unless.
I do. Let me show
Okay.
you how to do it.
Lorraine, that's why we've got the pro here. Kathy understood that.
So is she talking about like my piece that I did with the pink? So there's the 2 pieces of ribbon, so I can move that and put that aside. So what I think what she's asking is, I've got the 2 combined here, but I have my embroidery in the middle.
Oh, for the outline feature. Is that what you're asking, Lorraine? I'll bet you're right, Kathy.
Okay, so now that you see how that we join them, I'll go back to my machine screen. And I have to unplug my
She says, yes, yes, yes. She totally got it, Lorraine. In fact, I was thinking that, but I was thinking you were talking about something else. So this is perfect. And also, when you do get a chance, Natalie wants to know that foot that you have on there. The foot number, Natalie, the foot is the Move It digital dual Move It foot. But I think she's asking what foot you had on there.
So what sole I had on there?
Yep. There you go.
Is the they call it the stitch in the ditch one because it has this little guide blade right there in the center.
All right, I'll put that in the comments so they can get that.
There's 5 different ones available for the machine. You've got that stitch in the ditch one. You've got a couching one because it has a hole right here in the center. You have just your standard. You have an open toe. And then there is one with a 1/4 inch guide. And obviously I didn't put that back in its proper place. Oh, I found it. It got into the bin next door. It has a little blade on it as well. But if you use a straight stitch center needle position, that guide will give you a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that's all 5 of the different attachments for the compact. Okay, so we'll go back. We have to start with embroidery because we have to know which embroidery design we want to use. So let's just find something. Let's go into animals. I'll pick, well, we were talking about holidays, so let's just pick this big bird that's made up of different floral elements. I'm going to edit it and I'm going to resize it with stitch recalculation and make it smaller. Okay, that's good. The little flower icon that's here on my screen, that's how I make a custom shape. And see how wiggly that is? I don't really want that wiggly, so I'm changing the distance. Just until I get it to where I'm happy with it. So we're going to say okay. And now I'm going to save it. And this message pops up, recall from my design center stamp pattern list. Yes, okay. So I go into add and I go into my design center. I go to that little shapes or stamps icon, the circle and the square. I go to my little flower icon. There's my saved pattern. So now what I want to do, I don't want that outline around it to sew. So I'm going to no sew with the line attributes. Touch the paint bucket, touch that so that it won't sew an outline stitch. Now I can go into my decorative fills and we'll do purple just because whatever. Let's pick a different one. Let's pick 026. What is that one? That's the bottom of my list. It's the one that kind of looks like clamshells to me. So I'm going to say okay. So I'm leaving. I've got the little clamshells. Now I'm going to touch outside that shape. There's where my embroidery is going to be. So it's not going to stitch over it. So I'll go next. And I'll set it with that pattern around it. Again, I can go into add and I can go into my design center again from that saved outline. the flower icon, grab the same one and say, okay. Back to my patterned fills. This time we'll pick, let's pick pink. Select the same 0 to 6, the clamshells. Say okay. Okay again. Touch outside the bird. When I go next, for this one, I'm still leaving it at 100%, but I am rotating it to 90 degrees. And when I set it, and there it is combined, it almost looks like circles, but let me blow it up so you can see it a little bit better. So do you see how that works? If I can get it a little bit bigger for you.
That looks great.
Doesn't that look pretty cool? I mean, so you can do this with any of your embroidery designs so that you don't have to stitch the embroidery over the top of the background fill. So that's how to eliminate the background fill underneath an embroidery design. Just make a pattern shape out of it.
Perfect. And I would love to know people watching this, because my design center's been out for a while. And although, with each machine, all the way up to the Avenir, they've, included some features that maybe the past machines did not. But that outline feature has been there for a long time. And I would love to know in the comments who has tried it, because it's a game changer, and who has not. I mean, just out of curiosity, because Brothers made it so easy, Kathy, that now you can add fills on the embroidery side too. But my design center just has more design capabilities, thus called my design center.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hop back to my other camera.
Okay.
Because I have one more thing that I wanted to show you on camera.
All right.
I like to make notebook or journal covers, composition book covers. I mean, back to school, this is a perfect time. Let's see. You can't see that real well with my camera, but you can see real well what I did. So I embroidered on tulle. I played an Angela.
You know me well. Now this is mesh today, but I call it my invisible tattoos. I love embroidering on tulle.
So there I put something behind it so you can see it better.
Oh, that looks great.
These were just the little offcut pieces. So this is the kids, composition books that they have out at back to school time. So I always try and pick up several of them whenever, they have the sales going, and I just keep them on hand. They make great gifts to give, especially if you decorate them. So what I did was I just did a stipple stitch on my fabric with a piece of batting behind it. I stitched on my tulle, and this was layered in between 2 layers of the fabric-like water-soluble stabilizer. So after it's stitched, I rinsed it all out and constructed my little cover. So I just make little pockets to hold the front and the back. And it's easy peasy, nice gift. If I'm going somewhere and I need to take a notebook with me, I don't just have that plain old, boring generic composition book.
I love that. That's a great idea, especially for back to school. I'm thinking everyone going back to school, we're always trying to, personalize our backpacks and things like that. Well, everybody has a notebook, and I'm a notebook freak. I have so many notebooks. I have one for one type, one thing I do. I have one for ideas. I have one for my to-do list, although that one never seems to get smaller. It just gets bigger.
Yeah, you just keep adding to that one. So
Definitely. So while they're on here, because a lot of people might not have picked up some of our past episodes, any tips for them for embroidering on tulle?
I just use the water soluble stabilizer that looks more like a fabric, not the clear topper.
Yep. I'm glad you mentioned that because somebody recently, I don't remember if they sent an email or they asked me, they were asking about the water soluble topper, which is a thin, crinkly sheet. And they
Yeah.
use that as the stabilizer on the bottom. And they said it broke apart. Well, that's not for stabilizing on the bottom. There's wash away, which feels like fabric, but there's other fabric that feels like that too, like that fusible mesh feels very similar. So make sure it's actually wash away, because I'm going to put myself in this. I have made the mistake of thinking it's going to wash away and it doesnesn't. And you get really frustrated.
It can. And you're thinking, what did I do wrong? So,
Absolutely. Did she say between 2 layers of water soluble? No, she
I
said
did.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I usually put water soluble, my tulle, and then another layer of water soluble, and then I hoop that whole 3 layers.
Well, that's perfect. Okay, I missed that part. You're right, Lorraine. You're right. Everyone said, everybody's saying if they've tried the stamp feature. Some have not. I call it the outline feature. It's the same thing. And is it on my 10 needle? It depends which 10 needle you have.
If
the
you
newer
have
one
that has my design center, yes.
Yeah, just not the older. I don't think my
I
old
have
one does not.
50, and it has my design center, just not as many pattern fills.
Okay, there you go. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you.
So this is going to be my present. And maybe I'll do a few of these, and I could always put buttonholes and buttons in the corners and turn them on point and make a runner out of that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So just a review, this is continuous connection in the hoop. Using my projector to align them. And if you want to make a small wall hanging or for reference, this is
I
using
love that.
the ribbon for sashing.
I love that.
So I take this a lot with me to shows whenever I'm working a show. Speaking of which, if anybody is in the Oaks, Pennsylvania area, I'm headed that direction tomorrow to work the Mancuso show.
Oh, anybody going to the show? I love it when the educators are traveling, because you guys always give us tips on where everyone should be. So anybody want to go to the show?
So come say hi.
That's a pretty large show, isn't it?
It's a 4-day show, so it's a long one.
That's great.
We love those shows. I'll be home for a week, and the last week, then I'm going to be at OSQE. That's in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Oh, I've been to that show. That is a great little town too.
So come say hi there. And then the week after that, actually, not even the week after that, I get home and I'm home 2 days. Then I'm headed to Nashville to work the OSQE show there. So come say hi. That's the next 3 places that I'm out.
Go visit Kathy. Are you going to bring your recipes with you so they can see them up close?
I will.
Awesome.
I have them out. Put them in my suitcase.
A couple questions for you. Lorraine wants to know, how big did you make those squares?
So these squares right here are 5.5 inches.
Okay. And then there was one more question.
Right here are on my wall hanging. Let me measure them. They're 6 and about, let's see. They look like they're about 6 3/4 inches, these.
Okay. They look great. I like the combination of those. Caroline has a question. When you enter the size of the square you wanted in my design center, why does it change the size when you send it to embroidery instead of holding the size you entered?
I don't know. Let me look at my machine screen real quick.
I don't know that either.
I never noticed it before. I'll pull one out that I saved. Well, when I went into my design center, I sized it at 5.5. With stitches, it's 5.48.
Okay.
I do notice on my screen that some of my stitches are past my outline. I don't know why.
That makes sense. Oh, Marina says, when you're done traveling and you're back on the live shows, can you please demo the couching attachment on an upcoming show? We'll put that in Kathy's to-do box.
So the couching foot for the digital dual feed foot, or the couching attachment for like couched embroidery?
Yeah, which one? Because there's both. And Marina, what machine do you have? Because if you have, they have a video on there as well on the machine to show you how to use the couching foot and how to use the couching embroidery.
So this is the little accessory that goes to the side of my machine whenever I'm doing the couching embroidery. Well, we'll have to just plan a show for couching.
I think we'll just have to put it in there. Kathy's doing couching next time. Everyone says all of the above. I want all of them. I want all of them. Hey, Lynn, congrats on your new Avenir. You're going to love it. Hey. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you. All right. Well, this was a great show. And Julie asked, is there any place that this is going to be posted? You know what? I have her recipes. I will go to angelawolf.com. I won't do it until later today, so don't go there till tomorrow. And if you go to events and on this show, I'll make sure I list those for you in case, because someone said they took a screenshot, but it wasn't clear enough. So I understand. The best thing to do until I post it is to just hit pause when this is over and rewatch it, because you gave the numbers as you were going through too.
Yeah, but I didn't do all 23.
Oh, we're not doing all 23 today, huh?
No, I kind of need to go packed so that I can leave at 6 in the morning.
Everybody's laughing. I can hear the laughter. I can see the emojis. So here, let me put the website up here. Here you go, brothersews.com. That's where you can find your local brother dealer. And then go to angelawolf.com on events. The last month I haven't posted much. I've been too busy, but you all know the shows on Brother are Tuesday and Thursday, unless somebody's sick or something gets screwed up somehow. Yeah. So I will go. So for this date, tomorrow sometime, I will post it, and I will post all of her recipes so you can quickly print them off. And that was really nice of you to give all those to us. So Kathy, how many recipes? How many were on there?
There's 54 built in, and I have 23 on my list.
Oh my goodness. So if you all start now and just do one recipe a day, you might have this done by the holidays.
Christmas, maybe.
Maybe. But I like that one with, it looks like a little, it almost looks like a gift box. And I like the idea of putting buttons because you could tuck it under. That would be very cute.
Yeah, I mean, and you have different ways to do buttonholes. You can do projected buttonholes on the sewing side. You can do embroidered buttonholes on the embroidery side.
That's true. Speaking of buttonholes, we will end this show with a quick video on checking Brother's new projector for sewing buttonholes. If you haven't seen it, it's very cool. And in the meantime, you got all the places Kathy's going to be. If you missed that, hit replay and catch that again. So hopefully you can stop by and see her in the booth and take a photo, because I love seeing these photos online. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks. See ya. Thanks.
All right, everyone else, I will see you, Fashion Sewing Club. I'll see you this afternoon at 2. Some of you that like to watch the beginner show, that's tomorrow on my channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're back here on Thursday. But I don't recall who's coming on. So I'll see you at one of these shows. Thanks, Kathy.
Bye now.
Bye.